than Solomon is here. Jesus is greater than Solomon in his wisdom. Amen. Jesus is greater than Solomon in his wealth. Amen. Right. Jesus has more to offer us than Solomon did, because Solomon was a sinful man and Jesus was a sinless man. Jesus never gave himself over to idols, and Solomon did. And so he has greatness that supersedes that of Solomon, who was the wealthiest and wisest man that ever walked the face of the earth. But now Jesus is greater than Satan.
That's right. That's right.
Jesus is greater than our nemesis Satan. In Luke 10:18, Jesus said, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. He was there when Satan was kicked out of the presence of God because of his rebellion. Jesus, as a matter of fact, has nothing in common with the devil. But not only this, but look at Ephesians chapter 1 and verse number 21. Ephesians 1 and verse 21. Notice what it says there in Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 21. It says, far above all principality and power and might and dominion and every name that is named. That includes the devil. Amen. Not only in this world, but also in that which is to come. And had put all things under his feet and gave him to be the head over all things to the church. You know, Jesus is the head of the church. Jesus is the director of all the church ministries. You want to have power for your ministry, you have to go to Jesus, the head. You want to have direction for your ministry, you've got to go to Jesus, who is the head. You want to have direction for your personal affairs, you've got to go to Jesus, who is the head. And the devil will love to have that position, but he cannot have it. He wants to be worshipped even though he's wicked, but he is not legally able to take that position. That's right. You see, because he was not born to the lineage of the king. And so Jesus does not even have a close competitor with the devil. Some of us think that you have the devil and Jesus and they're in this tug of war. And you have Satan winning sometimes and Jesus winning sometimes. Or some of you have the idea, you have the Facebook Jesus that is arm wrestling with the devil. Some of you have a Jesus that he might be right a little bit above the devil, but not much. All of those are false. That's right. False impressions of Jesus. Jesus is far above all the principalities and powers. Principalities and powers are angelic realms, including satanic angelic realms. So when the Apostle Paul wrote in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in the heavenly places. He is saying, put on the armor of God that ye might be able to stand, for the armor of God is Jesus. You put on Jesus, that's the armor of God. And all of those demonic principalities and powers will not be able to defeat you. That's what he's saying. You see, but if you have doubts about the power of Jesus Christ, that is nothing but Satan trying to convince you that he and Jesus are close. They're not even close.
That's right.
Jesus has much, much more power than the devil. The temptation was, Jesus, Satan said to Jesus, let me take you up in his humanity. Let me take you up and show you all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And so he showed him Rome, no doubt. And he showed him the treasures of Egypt and the Far Eastern. He probably even brought him through time and showed him the great empires of the modern age, the British Empire, perhaps even the American cities, and all these great kingdoms that would arise that philosophically and spiritually are under the dominion of the devil. He's called the God of this world, lowercase g.
That's right.
And so he showed Jesus all of these things, and he said, all this will I give to you if you will fall down and worship me.
Yeah.
Now, any other person would have said, this is just too much. I mean, I can be a co-ruler, I can have all this wealth and riches and power and influence, and would have succumbed to that. But when your home has streets that are paved with gold, which men will steal and kill to get, when the place that you came from is paradise, and there's no pollution there, there is no crime there, there is no vindictiveness there, there is no horror there, there is no pollution of any kind there. When that is your home, you cannot agree to become ruler over the kingdom of this world. And so he said, get thee behind me, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. So I can't believe you turned me down. And so he left him.
That's right, Lord.
Because Jesus is greater than Satan.
That's right. That's right.
And so Satan's moment of glory was when Jesus was being crucified on the cross. But that moment of glory turns into his greatest horror story, because that death on the cross sealed Satan's doom and freed all men that will believe in Jesus. Jesus is greater than Solomon. Jesus is greater than David. Jesus is greater than Moses. Jesus is greater than Abraham. Jesus is greater than all of the patriarchs. Jesus is greater than Satan.
That's right. That's right.
And Jesus is greater than your problems. Jesus is greater than your sorrow. Jesus is greater than your health issues. He is called the great physician. Let him touch your body today. Let him touch your soul today. Jesus is greater than your enemies. Don't get quiet on it. Jesus is greater than anyone who opposes you. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. I was told a story about some missionaries down in Haiti several years ago, and they were in a part of the country that was still very much steeped in voodoo and black magic, and there were people becoming strangely ill all around them as they performed these incantations and these spells, and they were things that happened to people. Awful tragedies occurred to people, and so these missionaries were down there, and they were told they're working voodoo against you. And what they did, they gathered around this fountain, and they all began to sing, would you be free from your burden of sin? There is power in the blood, power in the blood. Would you over evil a victory win? There is marvelous power in the blood. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. And they said all the voodoo workers just began to just get away from them.
That's right.
Move as far away from them as possible. And all those evil spirits start jumping up like frogs and start fleeing away from them. Because Jesus has more power than the devil. Yeah. Come on now, church. Jesus is greater than your enemies. And Jesus' grace is greater than our sin. Amen. Thank God for the grace that we have in Jesus Christ. That though we are sinners, we can be cleansed from our sin, our filth. Yes. Can be washed away and presented new before the Lord Jesus Christ. There was this lady once, she was a street walker, and she was a big time sinner. And oh, she had all this filth and all this past in her past, but in her history. But she met an evangelist, she met a real man of God once who told her that Jesus could save her. And he did. She got saved. The devil kept on reminding her of her past. You know that you did this with this person. You know you did that with that person. You know you had this affair with this person. You know you did. You know the devil always comes to remind you about your dirt. He's good at that. And so she went back to the preacher who led her to Christ. He told her the truth. He said, you can never get back the purity of your body again because you already defiled it. You can never undo your past again. You already lived it. But what you can do, you can experience the cleansing and renewing power of Jesus Christ in your soul.
Yes.
And you can have power to live above your lusts and your frailties. And so she prayed. Now I don't believe in what they call the second blessing. But here's what I do believe. I believe that some Christians, they get saved and they fail to go back to Jesus for a second helping of power. Amen. It's like when next week having the feast here at the church, and yours truly may go back for a second helping of mashed potatoes or some more potato salad or something like that. I'm going to go back for a second helping because while the first one was good, the second one is going to make me feel even more full and satisfied. And so some of you need to go back to Jesus for a second helping of power so that when the devil comes to you with all of the failures that you did in your past, you can say to him, yes, they're covered by the blood and I'm walking in the Spirit now. I've got power in the Spirit and I'm not that same person because you've changed me on the inside. I can't undo my past, but my past has been washed clean with the blood of Jesus. That's why it says, and such were some of you, but you're washed, but you're justified in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ and by the Spirit of our God, and quit letting the devil lie to you. Jesus is greater than our sins.
Yes.
Jesus offers heaven an escape route from hell. Jesus is alive. And he is truthful, and all the false gods of this age are failures and liars. Every last one of them. Now, as I bring this to a close this afternoon, here's what Jesus never said. He never said you would only see sunshine. He never said there would be no rain. He only promised us a heart full of singing. That's the very thing that once brought pain. Give them all. Give them all to Jesus. Shattered dreams, wounded hearts, broken toys. Give them all. Give them all. Give them all to Jesus. And he will turn your sorrow into joy. Because Jesus is greater than all your brokenness. Why not live in that reality?
That's right.
Whatever thing you're thinking about, whatever sort of problem, whatever sort of a difficulty, Jesus is greater. Whatever your fear, as some of God's people are very fearful, Jesus is greater than your fear. Whatever hope that you have, Jesus is there to bring it into fruition. Don't lose your hope. Whatever difficulty stands between you and your hope, Jesus is greater than that difficulty. This morning, will you acknowledge that Jesus is greater than all these things? Shall we pray? Dear Lord, help us to live in the light of the truth of thy word. That the Lord Jesus Christ is greater than all of the heroes of the faith, all of the preachers, all of the saints, past, present, and future. Whatever it is that we can think about that is troubling us today, Jesus is greater. Whatever affliction, whatever pain, whatever struggle we may be going through, Jesus is greater. And when we think of the adversary, the enemy of our soul, he is nothing compared to Jesus. Jesus is far greater than he is. But it's one thing to acknowledge it intellectually. It's another thing to live in its reality. And so with your heads bowed and eyes closed, how many would say, I want help God to live my life in the reality